guys, what's up? It's Marissa and I am back for another booktube video, and this time I am doing another tag video. This one is the dilemmas of a book nerd tag, and this one I have not been tagged in any tags, and I will be tagging some people, and I'm gonna go ahead and do that down in the description box because I don't want to wing it right off the top of my head, and honestly I have the questions, but I'm not prepared. Let's just be brutally honest in this video. So I'm going to go ahead and tag some people, and you know, hopefully maybe eventually people start tagging me in some tag videos. I'm cool. I'm good with doing tag videos. So anyway, before any further ado, let's go ahead and get this started. So question 1 is book storage. How do you store and organize your books? Why? In this lovely, beautiful bookshelf right here. I organize my books, honestly, the top shelf up here is going to be my Shadowhunters series. Right now they fit perfectly in there. I do not have all of the books that Cassandra Clare has written, which I plan on getting, so they may not all fit in there eventually. This second shelf is kind of just a random assortment of my books. I organize them from the tallest to the shortest because otherwise it annoys me, and you know, OCD. I do have the same authors or the same series sitting next to each other as much as I can help it. And then this last shelf down here that was behind me, I can't even see what I'm doing. Yeah, those are just extra books that wouldn't fit on the second shelf, again organized by size. So yeah, that's how I store and organize my bookshelf. So dilemma number 2 is tracking. How do you keep track of what you have read and what books you own? So I use Goodreads. Pretty much everybody does anymore. So I have different Goodreads shelves. I have a DNF shelf, I have a to be read shelf, I have a Kindle to be read shelf, because believe it or not, I have a crap load of books in my Kindle that I have not read because I was getting the Prime membership, like you get one book free every month, and I kept getting those, but then I never seemed to actually read them because they weren't stuff that I picked out. I picked them from choices. So yeah, I have a Kindle to be read shelf. So dilemma number 3 is, do you lend your books out? No. Typically, this is pretty much the first time in my life I've really, I can't say the first time in my life, but the first time in my adult life that I've ever had a collection of books. And generally, I'm not going to lend a book out if I haven't read it. I'm not going to lend a book out if I want it back. I will give my books away. I actually, in the Shadowhunters series, the Mortal Instruments series, the first 2 books, City of Bones and City of Ashes, I had picked those up at the used bookstore, and they were kind of crappy copies, and I read through those, and then I decided I was going to go ahead and buy the box set, which you can see up there. And so instead of taking the other 2 back to the used bookstore and getting a really crappy price for them, I decided I was going to give them to my best friend's son. And I was like, okay dude, you have to read these. He's a teenager. I was like, dude, you have to read these. These are so good. And so after I gave it to him, he literally, after 4 hours, he had literally devoured almost 3/4 of the first book. So I was like, I considered that definitely a win. So no, I do not loan my books out, but I will give them away to people who I think will enjoy them if I'm not planning on keeping them, because me personally, I'm not going to keep a book that I have already read that I do not think that I will ever read again. So, okay, dilemma number 4, buying. How do you buy or acquire your books? I have been going to Barnes & Noble for some books. I have also gone to the local used bookstore. I've gone to about 3 or 4 local used bookstores, and most of them around me don't really have a great selection of the type of books I like to read. So I've also been buying books off of thrift books, and of course I've been buying books off of Amazon and Amazon Kindle books and the Amazon Audible books. So yeah, I kind of get them from all over the place, really. Dilemma number 5, comments. How do you respond to the how do you read so much comment or similar comments? I haven't really gotten that from anybody, but seeing as how I did read 19 books in the month of July, pretty sure at some point somebody's going to say that to me. So I'm just going to say this. I make myself a goal to read 100 pages a day in a physical book. This is not counting the hour drive each way to and from work, which I listen to audiobooks, and also right before I go to bed I read a Kindle book on top of that. So at any given time I'm essentially reading 3 different books. So I guess that's how I get through them, is because I'm concentrating a lot of time on it. But regardless of how busy I am with other stuff, I always make sure that I read at least 100 pages in a physical book so I can get through them. So that's how I read so much. So dilemma number 6 is next book. How do you pick your next read? This one, it's kind of a twofold question. If I'm reading a book in a series, I will pick up the next book in the series to read, because I like to read a series from the first to the last book, as long as they're all out anyway. So obviously I'm going to keep reading continuously in the series. If it's not in a series and it's a standalone book, what I try to do is I go through my Goodreads and I see, okay, what are the oldest books that are on my TBR shelf, and I will pick out one of my older books. At least one a month I'm trying to pick from the bottom of my TBR pile. And then any other time I'm really a mood reader, so like last week I probably started 2 or 3 different books and then ended up putting them down after a few pages, just because I just wasn't into it right then. Not that the books weren't good, but I just wasn't into it right at that moment. So yeah, I'm a mood reader. I go for what feels right at the time. So dilemma number 8 is annotate. Do you write or highlight or mark up your books in any way? No, this is such a sin, and no. I don't know. I don't fold corners. I don't break the spines. I will buy used books that have, broken spines and annotations and things like that, but me personally, especially if I'm going to keep a book, I want it to look nice. I don't know. I'm OCD, for crying out loud. I want it to look pretty. So no, I do not at all. If I want to make notes on something, I will take a picture of the page with my phone if I have a quote that I want to save, or on Kindle, I'll just highlight it. So yeah, no. I don't ever mark out my books. Dilemma number 7 is travel. How do you pick what book or books you bring on vacation with you? Whatever I'm reading at that time. And honestly, the last vacation we went on, it was only like a little weekend thing, so I didn't think I was going to get through more than one book, so I took one book with me and planned to finish it. And then while because we went to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and while we were up there, I ended up going to a Goodwill store, and I ended up picking up more books, so I just started reading those. But probably the next time we go on vacation, I'll just take whatever one I'm reading at the time, and then whatever one I think I'm going to feel like reading the next time. So yeah, mood pick, I suppose you could call it. Dilemma number 9, new or backlist. Which do you prefer, new releases or backlist books? Backlist books. And I know that's going to sound weird. It's not that I want to hear people's reviews on it, although I do. BookTube is how I've found all the books that I'm really interested in reading, because I've heard BookTubers talking about them. But I prefer paperback books, and I'm not talking the little mass market paperback books. I'm talking about the bigger paperback books. Hardcovers are alright. I mean, sure, they're great for collectibles, but they're expensive, and I don't like messing with the dust jackets and all that crap, because I take those off if I'm reading a hardback. But yeah, I definitely prefer the regular paperback books. So, and obviously those don't generally come out first. It's the hardcovers that come out first. So backlist books, definitely. Okay, sequels. Do you read books as they're released, or wait for an entire series to be published before reading book 1? I would rather wait for an entire series to be published before reading one, but there are some books that I have picked up that are pieces in a series, or the first book in a series, that the other ones haven't come out yet, or the other ones haven't come out in paperback yet. So yeah, I guess I would prefer to wait till the whole series came out, but sometimes if it sounds really good, I'm just not going to wait, because I'm impatient, and I'm so putting myself out there by saying this, but I am of the instant gratification generation. I want it and I want it now. And I think a lot of booktubers can kind of relate to that, so hopefully I'm not making myself sound like an idiot by saying that. So yeah, I guess that was all 10 questions in the dilemmas of a book nerd. I will put all the questions down below, and I will tag a few people down below, and hopefully people participate. And if you guys have already done it, sorry, I must have missed that video, and plus I can't really keep track of it. So anyway, I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. Bye bye.